Welcome
Welcome
to Musicians Talk. I invited today 3 guitar players. Miguel Petruccelli, Franky Douglas, and Jasper Stadhouders. Franky, I know the longest. We played in the 1980s in Sean Bergen's band called The Mob.
the 90s.
80s, I think.
Was it 80s already?
It's a long time ago, Franky.
I thought I came in the band in 91.
Oh, then
But you played with Sean before me.
I played with before, yeah.
And I think
you
he
joined
didn't
later.
have a guitar
I thought you were
player.
there from the beginning.
I came in the band in 91, I remember that.
I met Jasper Stadhouders about, I don't know how long you're in.
11?
10 years, something like that.
I guess so, yeah.
And the first gig I saw you play was a duo you played with Andy Moore in a concert hall in Amsterdam called Zaal 100.
Yeah.
And you played a duo, and it was very impressive, I must say. It was pretty loud, and, but you made the whole sound, really. Yeah, it was happening. It was like you really filled up with good sounds. It was not too loud. It was loud, but it was not too loud.
Loud and clear.
It was melodical. And Miguel, I know for about 5 years, I think.
Something.
You moved to Amsterdam about 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah.
We played a couple of times. Miguel has is, as I see it, maybe I'm wrong, but as I see it, he's kind of like responsible for bringing a Latin American touch to the improvised music scene. That Franky did that work before with salsa and Suriname things.
Yeah, the Caribbean stuff. Yeah.
The Caribbean stuff.
He brings the cumbia, he's Indian.
Miguel comes
Indio.
up with and he's appreciated for that. You Franky, you wrote fantastic tunes, and when I joined your band, I had to come to your house, and you were teaching us you were playing the guitar, and then you sang my part. And then I had to remember it or write it down myself, which I was not very good at. And so all the tunes that you wrote or made,
yes,
they were all always.
Yeah, if you compose a tune, it comes out of your head.
It comes out of your head.
So for yourself, you don't have to write nothing down.
No.
When you pass the tune over to another musician,
they don't have to write it down either.
They don't have to write it down, but then they have to remember it. There's a little problem there.
Franky he is extremely tough on you when you don't play your part right.
Oh yeah.
I like it because it's important.
Not tough,
synchronization and.
He definitely underlined that was it. That to play in the ensemble, you have to play in the ensemble. I think that was the big lesson that you taught me.
And sometimes you learn from the mistakes.
Yes.
There's this big collective mistake that sounds very, very good. Yeah. You say, okay, remember this. This is how we're gonna play it in the future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I bet it counts for you as well. In your Bacchanalia is the band.
Bacchanalia.
Yes, Bacchanalia, yeah.
Nice band, eh?
Yeah.
I also have
nice tunes.
I've been very lucky to work with great musicians in that band. I have the luck of that, I think. And then also most of the work that we do, it's based on cumbia, but I feel like also as a band leader, it's nice.
The what?
As a band leader, it's very nice when you work with people that have great talents and great motivation to find a way to so how do you make for them to not feel restrained in their playing, so you want to bring their energy up and that they can do as they wish. So going back to the point, maybe most of the time for me it's more important that they are comfortable and playing with energy than to play the part exactly how I thought it would be.
Can you say something about where you get the inspiration for certain tunes that you write or that you think of? How is that for you, Jasper, for instance?
When I compose, I'm not like a composer like Michael Moore, who writes a tune every day, or like he wrote hundreds of tunes. I'm not that kind of composer, but usually I only start writing a piece when I have a really clear concept, like actually quite a conceptual thing, and then I think about it, and I usually am in no rush to start writing, because I figured out that if the idea stays,
yes,
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah,
worth.
yeah,
then
yeah,
it's
yeah,
worth.
yeah, yeah. If
it's
it's
worth
good, it
elaborating
hangs.
on.
Yeah. I mean, I have ideas for pieces that that have been in my mind for 5 years that I haven't written yet. But so, and then what I usually do, I still notate by pen and paper. I don't use software. And I say pen because I don't use a pencil. So every note I write is decided. So I don't afford myself to make mistakes in my notation.
You force yourself to not make mistakes.
Yeah. So if I put something on paper, I'm sure that I wanted that one.
You
That's
want it
the
that
one,
way.
yeah.
That's
No
how you
discussion.
play it.
And okay, sometimes, of course, I might still adapt it later, but generally, like also as a way for me to, it's kind of a way to trick myself into just making decisions. Because when I was still studying at the conservatory over there, I was really, for like a year or two, I didn't want to hear any other music than 20th century, like modern classical music. The composers like Messiaen, Boulez, Ligeti, all that stuff.
You were into that.
Yeah, like almost exclusively, like when I was 19 or something.
Whoa.
And I wanted to understand that music, and also I wanted to be able to write music like that, but that was such a daunting task. Like I set the bar way too high for myself. So I had a lot of sketches, and I literally didn't dare to finish a composition. So then I just stopped composing for many years, and then now I got back into composing by choosing to just write with a pen. So
Yeah.
and also the other thing which I found out that works for me is that if the concept for a piece is strong in my mind, then the actual composition that results from that is just one of the infinite versions of that concept. So I could, if I would, I've never done that yet, but maybe when I'm 70 I might. Just to write a bunch of different versions of that same concept, just to see.
Yeah.
So that's just a way for me to make it work for myself. And I've the last 4 years or something I've been writing more music, and so also just gaining more experience.
Yeah.
Also in notation, like how to make it clear, and like I always work with improvisers.
Yeah, because that was what I was wondering. Because now you're talking, I'm the composer, and it's like, but you always,
So
it's still this top down situation.
Not anymore.
That you're looking for, or not?
No, not at all.
Not top down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like when I was 20 or something, I thought being a composer meant being like the big genius.
Yeah.
You know?
This is how it should be.
Yeah, and of course, luckily, I figured out that that's bullshit.
You woke up.
Yeah, I woke up. Exactly.
Do you guys practice lots, or you play all the time, or?
I never liked practicing, to be honest.
You never liked
Me neither.
Yeah, my brother is also a guitarist, and he really liked practicing. So always there was a healthy competition when we were teenagers. I was like always a bit like jealous because like he also studied classical guitar for quite some years. His technique is really excellent.
He practices. That's what you get from practicing.
Yeah. And I was always like kind of envious or jealous. When you're a teenager, you're jealous. That he, like when I heard him practice, like, oh shit, I should also practice. And then I would go into my room and play, and like I would try to do some exercises, and after 5 minutes I would just find myself fooling around not playing the exercise anymore. I would play a lot, like every day. I play along to records, but real practicing,
Right.
I did, of course, because I realized that was necessary to just, you need technique to convey what you want.
I've played a couple of times with guitar players that go like, you don't hear anything, and all of a sudden they turn a button or they push a pedal and then so sound comes in.
The effects.
I hate it. But you are 3 guitar players who seem to not do that.
No.
You all work with the attack.
I do it sometimes, though.
You do it sometimes.
Sometimes.
With effects.
No, maybe not in the way you mean. I don't know.
No,
Is
no.
it? No.
Yeah, you have to be sure about shit. When you work with effects, you also play the effects loud and clear.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to sound like a fart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's this fantastic solo, Frankie, that you played the first tune of the Sean Bergen Nansika record. It's da-dee-da-da-da-da, that tune. It's a traditional
With Curtis.
South African with Curtis Clark, the pianist Curtis Clark, and Jacco Schonewoers, the bass player.
Oh yeah, we
Victor
did it
de
in
Boer, the
Basel.
drummers.
In Basel, we
And-
did.
and
We made
Sean
we
and
did a record
yourself.
in Switzerland. Yeah.
And you play a solo one, like with effects. It sounds like a synthesizer or something like that.
Oh.
And there's every now and then, even Franky Douglas hits the chord and you don't hear it, and then it comes up. Whew.
Yeah,
But that is very tasteful. But there's-
But I don't use so much effects as I used to use effects when I was
I
young.
know, yeah, you had these.
But
friends
I'm using them when and I'm also still learning because you keep on growing, eh?
Yeah.
No matter, even if you're 100 years old, there's still a lot of shit for you to learn.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know what I mean? So one life is not enough. Music goes deeper than you think.
Yeah.
It takes more than a life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I use the effects also still, but I don't use them like crazy because I want an effect. I use an effect when it really makes effects. You know?
Nowadays, or maybe always, it's so standard for guitarists to use pedals by default.
Yeah.
But
I was the same. Like when I was younger, I just thought, yeah, every guitarist I saw had pedals, so I also probably should get some.
Yeah.
But then from one day to the next, actually, I saw Terry and Andy play duo here in the Bimhuis on this stage, and I only heard about the X, but I didn't hear their music yet, and this was an improvised gig, and they blew me away.
yeah.
Like just guitars.
They have
and
no. Do they have pedals?
no.
No, they don't do that.
Play straight.
Straight, and
yeah.
nothing sounded like a guitar, and I was like, wow. And literally the next day I put my pedals in the cast, and I didn't touch them anymore, and I still haven't.
Yeah, you don't need the pedals actually.
And then also I was just really like
You don't
really
need
envious of like saxophone.
Oh, but I mean, there's of course there's Jimi Hendrix with his Morley thing.
Yeah, but Jenny wasn't doing it all the time. He could really play.
The effects is an instrument.
could play.
People should treat it like an instrument.
Yeah.
And there are amazing guitarists that really use it as an instrument.
Like a great use
Yeah.
of effect.
Yeah, but there are also many that I'm not going to name names, but that I feel like they're just using it because they think they have.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's overdone.
Yeah, and it's also the signal is just reduced by everything, every step you
Every
put in
step on the
between.
chain.
Yeah.
Or also like when you see
What you mean with the signal,
The
like the sound?
electrical signal is
it
reduced.
loses quality
Yeah.
to each pedal. So the more you have at the end, it sounds.
Yeah.
So if you have like, in Franky's case, the 75 pedals in the one
That
box.
was the old stuff. Now you have the digital stuff. I still use pedal. I still use the effects.
course,
I have
yeah,
a little thing. A little thing. It's digital, and it has only nice sounds.
Yeah.
And sometimes the effects are so slick that you don't even hear that
Yeah.
there's an effect behind it.
Yeah.
No, it just makes a little. It makes the original tone. It has so little influence.
I mean,
it's not like. It's more like
I'm all for.
I really like to use effects. Since lately I came back to effects, maybe a year and a half ago, and I really like to use effects for a very short time. So you could put a different effect for one phrase and then take it out.
Yes.
But this is so quick sometimes that the listener does not realize, or it's
doesn't
not.
disturb. Yeah.
Or it thinks
then
like,
it stays in effect. It's the best way.
What's that exactly?
Yeah.
It's the
So
best
it's a
way.
musical effect which you use through the thing. So it's one phrase, and the listener thinks, did that happen? Who did
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Or where did it come from?
Yeah. So without the pedals, without the effects, you have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I had to do.
basically
Yeah,
saying.
definitely. And that's what I wanted to do also. And it was really hard. I had such a
But
such
what's
a love-hate relationship with the guitar.
still have or
I'm pretty okay with it now. Yeah, I think I found what works for me. That it can, like also, as I said, I was really jealous of like saxophones and drums and a double bass and horns, like just the amount of volume that these instruments can project in a room. And that's also why I started playing acoustic after that. Like I want sound to resonate, so I wanted to find a way for the guitar to resonate as much as possible. That every sound is big, even if it's soft. I still want it to be big, so.
yeah.
And
But it does not have to do with the quality of the build of the guitar, the quality of the
I
instrument.
can go into details, but
Well,
a little bit maybe. Yeah.
a little bit, sure.
Yeah. So what I did,
Do you do things yourself to improve it?
I started using really thick strings,
Thick string.
big strings, and high action. So there's just more physical space for the strings to vibrate, and so you have a huge dynamic range that way.
Yeah.
There are some downsides to it because it's much harder for your left.
Your fingers start to hurt.
Yeah, it's like usually when people pick up my guitar for the first time, they're like,
Yeah.
"The fuck is that?"
Do you maybe lose some like sliding or some legato? With
Yeah.
You lose
Yeah,
something.
you lose sustain. Like
Becomes more staccato
it's much more a picking thing. Yeah.
sound, yeah.
But what I get back from it is it's amazing. Like also the physical feeling of this beast is like wow.
Vibrating moment.
Like
So,
I'm really making sound. when I
yeah,
feel it with
yeah.
my hands. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted this physicality. That's what I was.
Yeah.
looking for. And with guitars, of course, it's so easy to play extremely loud with it. Gentle touch, if you have a, you know.
Thicker strings on it. Did you do your experiments
I
with
did,
that at
I
all?
did experiment a bit, but I decided to go back. So I'm using 11s now, which are kind of standard,
You explain.
I guess. Yeah.
What are 11s?
11s is the thinner string diameter.
The width.
I mean,
the
the
gauge.
Yeah.
the gauge.
Do you have numbers too, Frankie?
Wow, you're right.
Yeah.
That's very thick.
Yeah.
11,
20.
20, this one?
Yeah. 20, 22,
Mine is
24, 30.
You have 10. That's even thinner than what Miguel
Is
is.
10 or 9?
Yeah.
That's a standard, right? 9, I guess.
9, 10, 11,
But-
12 is
Yeah.
for most guitars.
That's very tight, Jasper.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so the set I use doesn't exist, so I buy single strings.
The six to play on the six strings, because you recently picked up the charanga.
Yeah.
That's a double coated small little
10 strings or 8?
10.
10, yeah.
10
Five
strings
doubles.
even.
5 doubles, yeah.
So five pairs.
5 doubles. It's a
Bonita.
beautiful.
I mean, is that not very? I mean,
Pequeño.
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 You played open strings, and it sounds like little stars.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
There's like 5 or 6 different standard tunings.
Yeah, also for charango.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess depends also if you play melody or if you're playing chords.
Some of them are tuned like
Depends.
in
Oh,
fifth.
yeah, that's right. It's
Some
very
cavaquinhos
nice
are just
one, eh?
chan, chan, check.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I got to learn how to play. The cavaquinho.
Yeah, like
The trumpet is
yeah, like
always
this also,
tuned.
huh?
I think we are getting too deep
Nerdy.
into nerdy technical things.
Sorry, dear listeners.
I think we should finish this
Topic?
Yeah,
conversation.
You think we should go home now?
There are more little.
Time.
Yeah, you have other people coming.
I have other people coming at my table.
It was a good one. We do it again. Next time we play, eh?
Yeah.
Lekker.